Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've vlogged, a long while. I mean, it's been a minute. But honestly, I just haven't felt like I had a whole lot to talk about. I didn't want to do the same, oh, The Walking Dead saved my life, or check it out, I'm a big Twilight fan. I just didn't feel like that was really super important. But today I'm here with a vlog about what has to be the coolest, most significant experience of my life next to getting married and having my two sons. A little backstory on me. If you know me personally and you've known me for longer than 5 minutes, you know that I am obsessed with Val Kilmer, the actor. He is probably the first person I ever loved. I mean, he was the first person. I was 13 years old, I saw Willow. And I didn't know who he was. I just knew I liked the guy who was playing Mad Mardigan. I thought, wow, he's cute and he's a good actor and he's funny, and all the things that went through my head while I was watching that film. And then several years later, I was watching Tombstone with a very good friend of mine, Carrie, and her sister walked in the room and was kind of talking about the movie, going, oh, I really like that movie. That's a really good movie. And I said, yeah, I really like Doc Holliday. And she goes, oh, yeah, that's Val Kilmer. And I'm like, oh, I love him. He's great. And I think I said something like, I've never seen him before. And she's like, haven't you seen Willow? And I was like, he was in Willow? And she was like, yeah, he played Mad Mardigan. And then it was like instantaneous. I mean, it was instantaneous love when I saw Willow, but it became even more focused love when I found out who he was when he played Doc Holliday in Tombstone. So I used to sign notes in high school, back in the day before social media and texting. Like, I'm old enough to know those days where there was no texting or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or any of that stuff. So, I mean, we barely had internet when I was in high school. And if someone had the internet, it was a huge novelty. So, we passed notes, like actual physical notes. And my girlfriends and I in high school, we were always like, oh, we signed our name. Like, we'd say our first name. My name's Kari, so I'd say Kari. And then we would sign the last names, not our real last names, but the last names of whatever actor, actress, or in my friend Shelly's case, hockey player she was in love with that week. It was always Eric Lindros. I want to point that out for her. It was always Eric Lindros, who played for the Philadelphia Flyers. Anyway, so I think, wow, it's been too long, but I always signed my last name Kilmer. Always. It was Kari Kilmer, Kari Kilmer, Kari Kilmer. I even made, and I'm not going to show it because quite frankly it's incredibly embarrassing, but I made what my friends and I lovingly called my stalker book, which is basically just a photo album full of crudely printed photos of Val Kilmer from various movies: Batman Forever, The Doors, Tombstone, The Saint, The Island of Dr. Moreau. I remember I bought a $15 sci-fi magazine for a picture of Val Kilmer that was literally that big. 15 bucks for this magazine, just for that picture. This is how obsessed I was with this man. But it wasn't like obsession of, I'm going to stalk him and I'm going to go find out where he lived. I mean, I knew where he lived because he did a piece for Architectural Digest when he was living on his huge ranch in New Mexico. But, so I knew where he lived, but I'm like, I'm not going to save up money and try to go find, like, that's creepy. Like, I wouldn't cross over into creepy stalker mode. So, but let me tell you, it's not that I never thought about it. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be the one that got a restraining order put out against her because she wouldn't leave this person alone. Like, I wasn't going to be that person. But anyway, I've loved him. I've followed his career since I was 13, and I've watched almost every movie he's done. There's a new one coming out soon called The Super that I'm really excited about. It's a horror movie and it appears that he's the bad guy, which I think is super cool. So I'm excited to see that. But there's a couple I haven't seen. Most specifically, ones he did with 50 Cent. I think there's one called Gun, and then there's another one, I can't remember what it's called, but it was movies he did with 50 Cent, and I haven't actually seen those yet. Why, I couldn't tell you. I think maybe it's because I'm not a huge 50 Cent fan, but of course I'll watch it for Val if I can ever track it down. Anyway, a couple of years ago, probably 3 years ago now-ish, there were a lot of rumors and speculation going on about Val's health. And I didn't put much stock in it. I never do. I don't put a whole lot of stock in paparazzi. I don't put a whole lot of stock in, like Entertainment Tonight and Extra and because I feel like they're all just tabloid shows and tabloid magazines. So I never put much stock into those things. But there was a lot of rumor, and of course by this point the internet is huge and everyone's on the internet and everybody knows or thinks they're entitled to know about what's going on with their favorite celebrities. We live in a post-Kardashian world where, and that's no disrespect to the Kardashians. I love the Kardashians. I watch it all the time. But they are willingly putting themselves out there, and they willingly talk about some of these difficult things that they go through. A lot of actors, a good example is like Harrison Ford. He never talks about his personal life. He's very private. If he had something wrong with him, you wouldn't know, because he doesn't come out and say these things. Like, the only time anything comes out about Harrison Ford is when something very public happens, like when he's crashed one of his planes or something like that. But beyond that, you don't know anything. And Val has always been really a similar creature. He's tried to keep his private life private, and I really, really always respected that. I never wanted to be that person that obsessed over every single detail because he is a celebrity and I feel entitled. Because I never feel entitled to information about people I care about. Even my friends, in my real life, everyday life, my friends, I don't feel entitled to that information. I've never felt entitled to that information. But then a photo was released, and a friend of mine messaged me on Facebook and said, "Have you seen this photo?" And I'm like, "What photo?" So she sends me a screenshot of the photo, and it was Val walking around somewhere, and he had a trach tube in his throat, and I freaked out. I freaked out. Internally. I mean, I didn't really say much to any person, but except for my husband, but I was really concerned, because obviously if you have a tube in your throat, something serious is going on. But still, he denied, when he was approached and asked about it, he kind of denied anything was going on, which is fine. That's his prerogative. He was allowed to do that. But as it turned out, in a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything, if you're not familiar, he admitted that he'd had a healing of throat cancer, meaning he'd had throat cancer, it had been treated, and he's healing from that. And as far as I know, he's cancer-free. And actually that was confirmed to me by a friend of mine who actually works for him. She does his Citizen Twain shows with him. She goes to conventions with him and helps with the autograph lines and the photo ops and all that. She works for him, and she's actually a very dear friend of mine. We met on the internet years and years and years ago. I'm not going to disclose who she is at this point, but if you are personal friends of mine, then you know who I'm talking about. But she's confirmed to me that he's doing great, meaning that his health is good on the overall. But in the course of the treatment for his cancer, he had a lot of side effects and setbacks, some of which I'm assuming a surgery he probably underwent with the trach and all of that it was going on damaged his vocal cords. So his beautiful voice has been reduced to a very depressing kind of a squeaky rasp almost, and it's very sad. But he's still Val. He's still Val. You know, he'll always be my Val. Like, I love him. I don't care that he's older. I don't care that his weight fluctuated over the years. He gained and lost weight for roles. And the problem was once he hit, like, 40 plus, it became a lot harder for him to gain and lose lose weight. Forgive my dogs. They're barking out in the living room because, reasons. So, back to the reason I'm making this vlog. I'm giving this really long-winded explanation, but I'd always wanted to meet him from the time I was 13 until 2 weeks ago. My number one item on my bucket list of things I want to do before I die was to meet Val Kilmer. That was literally the number one thing. It's been the number one thing since I knew what a bucket list was at like 16. So, Rose City Comic Con announces last year that Val Kilmer is one of the guests, and I freaked. I texted my husband and I was like, oh my god, Val's gonna be at Rose City. And he's like, Rose City? And I'm like, Rose City Comic Con in Portland. And he's like, when? And I said, in September. And September 8th was, it was the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And my birthday was the 13th. So I was like, birthday gift. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? Probably. I was like, birthday gift. I have to go meet Val. I have to. And my husband totally understood. He knows my obsession with him. Contrary to what you see behind me, my obsession with Val is even more intense than my obsession with Twilight. But Val doesn't have a whole bunch of merch. So then this happens. That's a subject for a whole nother vlog that we'll talk about one of these years. But, so, my dogs are making me nuts. So, we go to Rose City. Well, we get the tickets and I'm all excited, but over the course of the months leading up to Rose City, he had to cancel several appearances, including his appearance at Doc Holliday's in Tombstone, which is a celebration of Tombstone and Doc Holliday in Tombstone, Arizona, which I've been there. Freaking awesome place. But he was not feeling well. He kind of brushed it off as his doctor was like, you just need to get more rest, and he hadn't rested enough, and that was a lot of traveling and that sort of thing. So he had to cancel that appearance, and I was like, oh my god, and that was in August, and I was like, oh my god. Hold on, please. My dogs make me crazy. All right, so he had to cancel his appearance in Tombstone, Arizona for Doc Holidays. He'd had to cancel several Comic-Con appearances, and I was very concerned. I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna cancel. Like, I just had this feeling. He's gonna cancel. But he didn't. And so we go up. We're driving up to Portland. It's about an hour and a half drive from where we live to Portland. And I was so nervous. Like, my stomach hurt. I was nauseous. Like, and it was all just anxiety and nerves, which if you watched my other videos, you know I struggle with that, among many other things. And so I'm totally nervous. I'm freaking out. This is like 25 years of dreaming come to life, come to fruition. And it was surreal. Like, I didn't feel like it was real. Even when we pulled up and we had to stand in this ridiculously long line just to get into the convention, I was like, this doesn't feel real. This doesn't feel real. So we get there and we kind of do a loop around the whole, once we get in and get our badges and everything, we'd make the loop around the whole thing, kind of to get the lay of the land and figure out where everything is, because every convention's different. I've been to Wizard World conventions where I met Norman Reedus and Michael Rooker and Johnny Bernthal and Robert Englund and James Marsters. I've had a lot of really great convention experiences, but they're all laid out differently. So we kind of got the lay of the land, and then we come around this corner where the celebrity signings were. And I turn, and there's the photo ops booth, and literally right adjacent to the photo ops booth is Val's booth. And I see the banner with his name and the photo. And then I see my friend standing behind the little table with like merch on it and the photos that you got to choose from. And a feeling of both panic and ridiculous excitement came over me. And I was like, oh my God, there's a spot. Oh my God. Like, I felt like I was 13 again for a minute. It was just the coolest thing. And so I walked up and I said hi to my friend. And this was actually the first time we'd met in person. So it was really cool to finally meet in person. Like, we talked online for years, but it was so cool to finally meet in person. And so we hugged and we talked, and I introduced her to my husband and our youngest son, Christian, because he went with us. He wanted to meet a few people. And Val was taking a quick break. He has to take a lot of breaks because, you know, with his health, he does, I mean, which is good overall, but he still gets kind of tired. So he had to take breaks. And so he was taking a little break. So I was talking to my friend and just kind of waiting. And then I picked out the photo I wanted him to sign. And we walked. They have like these, it's like crowd control, like at a concert when you're in line and it kind of zigzags. So I was in the zigzag waiting for him to get done with his break. And then they finally, he was one of the few who had a really nice, like, enclosed space. And it was so, you know, he could just be like, hey, I need a minute. And they just shut it down. And he doesn't have to move. He doesn't have to go anywhere unless he has to eat or use the restroom or something. But he could just stay there and relax for a few minutes and, you know, clear his throat and do whatever he needed to do to get ready to meet more people. My husband and my son joined me in the line because I was so, like, at this point I'm in line to meet him, and I'm shaking. I can feel tears welling up in my eyes. Like, it was just an experience that just standing in the line was surreal. And so they finally start letting people into this little curtained off area that he was in. And I started shaking. I was panicking. I felt nauseous again. Like, it was just a stressful, but in a good way, like, experience. And so all of a sudden it's my turn. And my husband kind of pulls the curtain back, and I saw him sitting at the table, and I froze. I couldn't think, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything. Like, I just kind of stood there. So my husband sort of pushed me. And so I stood, and Val was talking to a gal who was in front of me who was getting a photo signed for, it was a picture of Iceman from Top Gun. And she was getting it signed for her military boyfriend, husband, brother. I honestly don't know. We didn't talk at length, but she was getting it signed because he's in the Navy and he was deployed. And so she was getting this picture of Val as Iceman in Top Gun, which, of course, you know, Navy, signed for him. And it was really cool because he couldn't be there, obviously. And then she steps away, and Val turns his head and he looks at me. And those blue eyes, you know, that I've looked at since I was 13 years old and loved, like, there they were, you know, looking at me. And I handed him my photo that I wanted him to sign, which I will show you. It's this one right here. Sorry about the glare. It's kind of glary in here, but it's Doc Holliday from Tombstone, Obvi. It says to Kari, and then it's signed Val Kilmer, and he signed that. And then after he signed this, I had tears in my eyes, but I wasn't, like, crying. Like, I could feel them welling up, you know, but I had makeup on. I didn't want them to fall, but I could feel them welling up, and I just looked him dead in the eye. And I said, I've been waiting 25 years for this moment. And he reached out and he took my hand, and I will never forget how it felt for him to hold my hand. And he didn't just hold it, he squeezed it, really, really tightly. And he, again, like, because of the damage to his vocal cords, it's really hard for him to talk, but he asked me if we were getting a photo op later, and I said yeah. And he said, okay, good. And I said, you'll never understand what you mean to me. And he squeezed my hand again, and then I had to go because there was people behind me, in line. It was the most significant, 20 seconds of my life. Other than when I married Brian, other than when I had my 2 children. It was the most significant moment besides those 3 things. I will never forget it. I will never forget how his hand felt. I will never forget what he smelled like. I'll never forget how I felt in my heart. It was just so amazing. I came back out, I talked to my friend for a few more minutes, and then I'm like, I've got to go get some air. It was overwhelming in the best possible way. So we talked to my friend, then we went outside, and after we went outside, we decided to go get something to eat because we had several hours before my photo op. So we go and we get some lunch, and we're kind of wandering around looking at everyone's cosplay and stuff, and it was really cool. And I normally am so much better at taking pictures and video, which if I had done any of that, I would insert it into this vlog, but I literally, I was so in the moment that day. I didn't take any. I took one photo of one kid's cosplay while we were standing in line outside the venue to get in initially, because he was right behind me in line, and I thought he was adorable. So I took one photo, and I'm not going to show that because I don't want, it's a child. I'm not going to blast I'm not going to blast a child that is not mine on YouTube just because he was in a cute cosplay. But I didn't take any pictures. I took a picture of me and my friend who works for Val, but I'm also not going to show that because I'm not going to put her on public display on YouTube without her permission. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. So we're outside, we go eat food, and we come back, and we kind of hang out outside for a little bit longer, kind of watching people, and there was people playing music and stuff, so we're kind of listening to that, and I'm just trying to zen a little bit because it was very overwhelming. And then it's like, okay, well, we should probably go back in because we're coming up on your photo op. And it was like we go in the building and everything's fine, and then I start freaking out again. I've already met him. Why am I freaking out? I never freak out like this with Norman. I've met him 3 times. And I never freak out like this with him. I did freak out the very first Comic-Con we went to because I'd never met a celebrity before, in person. I'd seen him in airports and stuff, but I'd never met one. And so, yeah, that was... it was just weird, but it was because it was Val. It was because of who it was. It wasn't because it was a celebrity or anything. I've met celebrities before at this point, but it was the celebrity. Does that make sense? It was the person, my person, that means the world to me. So I get in line, or I run to the bathroom to touch up my makeup and pee. Let's be real. Let's keep it 100. So I get in line for the photo op, and it's a madhouse. There's lines and lines and lines of people for various photo ops because they were doing several photo ops kind of all at the same time. So finally we figured out where we were supposed to be, and then we got put where we were supposed to be by the staff from Epic Photo Ops, who was great, by the way. The staff, if you have to get if you're getting a photo op done at a convention and it's being done by Epic Photo Ops, even though it's madness, they will do everything they can to make it as easy as possible. They were great. They were wonderful. The whole event was great. I mean, there's always a little bit of disorganization at conventions, no matter how well they plan ahead. Stuff happens. But they did a great job. I mean, it was definitely less chaotic than the first Wizard World I went to. Well worth it. It was super fun. I had an amazing time. That was my first convention ever. That Wizard World one in 2013. So but it was awesome. It was just chaotic. They didn't plan for the crowds they got. Let's just put it that way. So I'm in line, and there's this gal and a guy in front of me in line. And so we strike up a conversation, and the girl and I are now friends on Facebook. I found her actually by accident because her photo op got posted on Facebook and a Val Kilmer fan group. And so I was like, oh, that's the girl. And so I friend requested her just on a whim, and she totally was like, hi, how are you? Like, it is so great. I've made new friends at conventions, which is super fun. But anyway, it's nice to meet a fellow like Val obsessed person. But anyway, so we were kind of talking and chatting and laughing, and so it made it a lot more comfortable standing in the line. And then we get into the little tent thing for the photo op, and there he is standing there again. And it's like shaking and tears welling up. And then I suddenly went from caring what I looked like to not caring at all, because it was just, again, it was really intense. And so then this happened. I love him. Like, he still has that winning, epic, beautiful smile. I look like shit and I don't care, you guys. Like, when I got the photo, my first reaction was, oh God, but it's because I hate pictures of myself. Anyway, but, I mean, it's me, and it's Val freaking Kilmer. Right? Right? How did this happen? Do you know? 25 years of dreaming about this moment. Like, it finally happens, and I have proof that it happened, you know? And it was just, I got the photo, and yeah. I look at this every single day and pinch myself just to make sure it actually happened, because there are moments where I feel like, was that a dream? Did I dream that? But, you know, is he older? Sure. So am I. I'm not 13 anymore. I'm 39. You know, he's not 30 anymore. He's 58, or yeah, 58. So we're not young anymore, and that's okay. Like, we're allowed to age, and we're allowed to have health problems. This is two people right here who have serious health problems of differing types, but serious health problems. But here we are, powering through, and for a brief moment on this day, I got to power through my sick body with Val freaking Kilmer. I felt terrible after we left. Like, my body said, screw you, bitch. You're done. But it was this. I don't even care as much about the autograph photo, which is great. But this photo, this is two not super healthy people powering through a day together to make a memory. And this is a memory I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Even if something happens to this picture and somehow it's destroyed, granted I've posted it all over the internet, so I doubt it's going to go anywhere. But even if this photo gets destroyed, this moment is etched into my memory. I will never forget this. ever. When I said that this is probably the most significant experience of my life, it was like number one on my bucket list. How many people really get to say that they got to achieve number one on their bucket list and they're not actively dying at the time? I mean, we're all actively dying, let's be real. Let's keep it 100. We're all actively dying. But I mean, like, I only have a month to live. Let's make dreams come true. That's not where I'm at in life right now, and my legs are asleep. That's awesome. So, I still find myself speechless at times regarding that day, because I still struggle to find the words. Even like 2 weeks later, I still struggle to find the words to say what that day meant to me. And I know I have no idea if Val watches YouTube at all, or if any of his friends or family do. But if by chance someone connected to Val, like in a personal way, is watching this, I've said it to him on Instagram. In fact, I said it to him yesterday on Instagram, and he actually liked my comments. So I'm hoping that means he saw it, or at least a member of his team saw it and told him. But Val will never, ever understand or know truly what he means to me. He's been the one constant in my life since I was 13. And I went through some really rough times in my life, and he was there through his films. And he made me smile when it was really difficult to smile. And he made me laugh when I was struggling to laugh. And he made me feel, love when I wasn't feeling very loved. He will never understand. That moment on September 8th at Rose City Comic Con in Portland means more to me than almost anything in my life. I mean, like I said several times already, with the exception of marrying my husband and having my children, those are all epic moments in your life. But this is literally number 4 on the list of moments that meant everything. Everything. See, I'm still like, I get lost in that moment, and then I become speechless. It's the weirdest thing, and anyone who knows me personally knows I'm rarely speechless. I usually have something to say, good or bad. But in this particular case, it's hard for me to adequately express my feelings because, like I said at the beginning of this video, anyone who's known me for longer than 5 minutes personally knows what Val means to me. And so to have that moment with him was epic. I hope to have future moments with him. I hope he comes back and does more conventions. There's a rumor he's coming back in January, and I'm determined that if he is in fact going to be there, I'm going to try to go back, and I'm going to try to savor every moment that I could possibly have with him if I am given the opportunity to do so. But again, if anyone connected to Val personally in any way is watching this, I just want him to know how much I love him and I value him as an artist and an actor, and what meeting him did for my heart. It was like it's like he kind of filled some of the little broken areas that had been broken by other things. It had nothing to do with him, but he kind of helped in a weird way, like mend some of those pieces that weren't quite healed, you know? And does that mean I'm a fully satisfied human being now? No, I'd love to not be sick anymore. I'd love to not be in pain all the time. I would love to be able to work and live my life, like, because as everyone who knows me knows, I don't normally look like this. I don't normally have makeup on. I don't normally, this is a, let's throw some makeup on for the vlog. You know, it has nothing to do with the real me on a day-to-day. And, you know, Val didn't see the real me on the day-to-day. He saw the girl who spent 2.5 hours that morning at 6 a.m. putting makeup on to try to look as beautiful as she could for him. I wasn't doing it for me, I was doing it for him. Like, and I don't think I really succeeded, but that's okay. Like, it was about the moment. That's why I didn't take any pictures. That's why I didn't take any video. That's why, because I was so in the moment. And that is really what I'm truly and genuinely, I can't speak, grateful to Val for, is he gave me that opportunity on that day to spend that whole entire day just living in the moment, not caring what was happening on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or my email or anything. It didn't matter. In that day, all that mattered was Val. I got to spend time, however brief, with Val Kilmer, the one person on planet Earth I have wanted to spend time with for over 25 years. So I spent that entire day just living in the moment. And it wasn't just about Val either. Like, I mean, of course, in here it was. But my youngest son went with us, and he'd never been to a convention before. So watching him like soak it all in, and him seeing all the little cosplays, and he got to meet Michael Rooker, and who he loves from Guardians of the Galaxy because he played Yondu, and he got to meet Michael Biehn because he's a huge fan of his from The Terminator, because he played Kyle Reese. And though, I mean, I've met Michael Rooker before. He is such a spectacular person, and he was so sweet to Christian. Like, he was so sweet. And Michael Biehn, I'd never met him. Christian clearly had never met him, but he got to interact with him, and just the joy on his face having those moments. We didn't get any autographs or photo ops with those guys because, quite frankly, we couldn't afford it. But they allow you to walk up and like meet the people if you want to do that. Like, so that's what we did, and we didn't get any photos or anything, but they're in here. You know, they're in here and they're in here, those experiences. And I got to watch my son have these amazing experiences and feel kind of the way I felt at my first convention. So it was just, that whole day, we just lived in the moment, and I didn't care about what or if I was going to post anything on social media. I didn't care what people were talking about on social media. Nothing on the news mattered. Like, it was just, that was the gift that Val gave me that day. Not just meeting him and fulfilling a 25 plus year dream. It was reminding me how important it is to live in the moment and not worry so much about all the other stupid bullshit that we all worry about. So Val, I love you, and I thank you for giving me that day and letting me I will never forget what it felt like to hold your hand. I will never forget what it felt like when you looked me right in the eye. I will never forget you showing me again how important it is to just live in the moment with the people that you love. And you are definitely on the list of people that I love. And now that I've met you, like, I know I still don't know you personally, but I feel like I love you even more now than I did the day before Rose City. So thanks for that, and keep being you, and I hope and pray that I get to meet you again one day, because it would mean the world to me again, you know? Anyway, guys, all 7 of you, thanks for watching this video. I know it was really long-winded and you know, I tried really hard not. I put makeup. Do you know why I put makeup on? I wasn't going to put makeup on. I put makeup on because when I have makeup on, I make a concerted effort not to cry. Because I don't want my makeup to fall off. Like, I don't want it to come off. So this is why I put makeup on. I put eyeshadow on. I didn't put any mascara on my lower lash line just in case. Because if I did cry, at least I wouldn't have like mascara running down my face. But I put makeup on because then in the back of my mind, I'm like, don't cry because you'll mess up your concealer. So that's why I have makeup on today. Anyway, it was the coolest experience ever. I am so blessed to have had that moment. That whole day was just fantastic, and I've kind of been on cloud 9 ever since, even though my health hasn't been great this last week. You know, it doesn't matter. It was such a cool experience. It was so much fun. I had such a great time. I was exhausted and sore afterwards, but who cares? Like, if you ever have the opportunity to meet that one person that is your somebody, your person, that person that just means the world to you, do it. Just do it. If you have an item on your bucket list and you get an opportunity to fulfill that item, do it. Don't let anything stop you. The only thing that can stop you from living your dreams and achieving certain goals that you make for yourself is you. So just do it. I promise you it's worth it. I promise you. I will never forget September 8th of 2018. Ever. I will never forget it. Even if I meet Val 50 more times, I will never forget September 8th of 2018 at Rose City Comic Con, because that was the moment that something in here changed. And it just made me a happier person. And I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful. And I hope I get to do it again. But if I don't, at least I will always have this moment. So real quick, before I end this, one more time. Here they are. Best day ever. Hashtag best day ever. You guys, thank you. I really appreciate you watching. And I know this is definitely a much more chipper video than the last couple I put out. And I'm happy to have a reason to be happy on video. Like that, I'm really excited. So I guess let me know if you want me to talk about this right here. There's a lot more to it than just this. But yeah, if you want me to talk about why Twilight makes me happy, we can talk about that, but not today. So if you really want to hear me blather on and on and on about Edward Cullen and Forks, Washington, then please, by all means, comment down below and let me know, because I'll be more than happy to make that video. I love talking about things that make me happy. I also love venting about things that don't make me happy. So you get a little bit of both on this channel. Maybe someday you'll get makeup on this channel. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I love you. I really appreciate you spending the time with me today, and I will see you in the next one.